Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2-Point Conversion Monday Night pregame show here before Monday Night Football on the Going for Two Live Network. I'm Kyle Sedner, one of your hosts, joined by two of my fellow Going for Two members. Did I say the number two too much? I'm not sure, but we have Gladys here. How are you doing, Gladys?
I'm doing fine. Hey, does every show have that intro music on Going for Two?
I think other shows might have different ones. I know Dynasty Saturday Night 5, they have their own, but yeah, that's kind of the standard non-armchair one, because Jeff has his own for the armchair show.
Of course he does. All right. Hi, I'm doing fine. I'm doing good. I'm bathed in sunlight right now, which I'm not really a big fan of sunlight, but I'll take it today. And I get to be back with two of my three favorite people. And it's just a warm and lovely Monday. Steelers suck, Matt Canada sucks, so everything is good with the world.
Balanced, right?
It's a balance.
We also have the B League says, B2, bad jokes aside, we have Dan. How you doing, Mrs. Mets man? So you're a Mets fan?
They've given Mrs. Met a facelift this season, and let me tell you, it was all right. Mrs. Met.
Wow.
She's carrying some baggage this year, so it's all right. We like Mrs. Met. She does all right. So Mrs. Met's man, that's who I am for the next 3 or 4 weeks.
I've never met her, so that's all.
They gave her a lift, so that's all I'll say about that.
Has it helped lift the team into the playoffs? I don't pay attention.
Dude, you're a summer shandy drinker? I'm sorely disappointed in you.
Well, our shandies are different to yours in America.
Okay, then. All right.
I think.
Probably.
I think they're different.
I can't see you drinking an American summer shandy. Or what? The
American shandy's like lemonade, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I like lemonade.
Of course you do. That's why I didn't say anything to you.
Ours is like beer and Sprite.
Well, I mean, it's lemonade and beer.
Yeah, your lemonade's kind of weak.
You're still weakening. What kind of beer?
See, I just like the lemonade part.
What kind of beer? Proper beer. Unlike the filthy flat crap you get in the US. That's all I'll say. I know what today's date is, and I'm trying to be as sensitive as I can, but
Why?
Japan sucks.
Why?
Try not to be anti-American on 9/11. I'm going to say that much, but your beer sucks.
So you're going to save it for another day?
There is only one American on this show, not even 2-point conversion.
And you guys don't even know if I'm American, do you? Does anyone ever ask me?
Yeah, it's true. I'm just assuming you are, so.
Yeah, there you go. You should never assume.
That's true, because I am an ass, so. I suppose.
No, you're not. You're just a really bad joke teller.
Oh, thank you. Oh, wait. Oh. But yes, here we are.
Here we are.
Football season's here. There's a reason we're on Monday night this early. It's because the NFL season's here. There is a game. Because normally the rest of us, we usually like to do these shows at like 8, 9, 10 p.m. But there's a football game going on at that time. We assume anyway. But yes, so week 1, mostly in the books. We have just tonight's game between the Bills and the Jets. Hence our Monday night preview game for the Bills and Jets game. And then, yes, we'll talk about some other things, maybe some waiver wire, other fantasy football topics. Now, for those who have watched us in previous years, you will notice one difference, specifically one absence right now. Dr. James Ferretti, he retires us as the champ of our picking pool.
Is that proven? Like, he's not here. I don't think that's a proven fact. I'm sorry.
I have this spreadsheet pulled up right now to kind of prove it. But I like spreadsheets, so that's of course why I would have it up. But yes, so new season kicks off. Unfortunately, without the doc, just really busy, so he can't commit to the regular weekly scheduling. Although everyone should still check out his amazing book, Injuries Suck, but your fantasy team doesn't have to. My books are way back there. It's harder to get to now. I didn't plan that out as best to just grab and show, so we'll allow Gladys to show on screen. Of course, if you want to see what I'm talking about, for anyone listening, buy the book, but also head over to the Going for Two Live YouTube page. We also stream on Twitch and Facebook and Twitter as well. But if you make Twitter or X comments, we won't be able to see them on our comment feed. So we recommend you head over to one of those platforms and reach out to us. Any questions about tonight, fantasy football wise, or contest selecting wise, very particular vernacular. Underdog, thanks. Yeah, so there's also a Discord which you can come hang out. During the show. We won't answer them, but I'll be active between shows and stuff. Going for bed. So
Doc, however, is on the Discord answering your questions about injuries.
Yeah, and if you want to get in touch with Doc, that is the best place. He's got his own injury subsection there, and he will answer anyone who has questions about any player. He'll answer them. He'll even just put his own topics up. Tons of great information, specifically to players, but of course the general information can be found in the book. But yeah, the Discord's a great place for all different fantasy football discussions, and the best part, it's free, so you can access it in a couple ways. I think through Jeff's Twitter account potentially, but also through the Going for Two website, goingfor2.com, which you can find a bunch of our articles, rankings, and such. So yeah, that's all the Going for Two gear. Again, did I say the number 2 too many times today? I'm not sure. It's funny because there's a 2-point spread in the game tonight, so we'll say that number coming up soon, no matter what. But yeah.
I love the restraint of Dan right now. It's like it's astronomically. It's really good, and I'm really proud of you, Dan. I just want to say that.
Hanging by a thread.
Okay. Well, now's your time to release all that, Dan.
No!
So what? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, what do you want to share? Takeaways from this week. I'll let you. Honestly, it's been so long since we've heard a Dan rant. Might as well just.
I know.
With it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Dan, what do you got for us? What do you tell us your true, honest feelings about anything, even if it's telling me to shut up?
No, you know what? I think it was just so good to see everything after. It felt like such a long off season this year compared to others. So to see it felt like the first true rookie class that came in post the COVID years. The preseason games seemed to go off without a hitch. There wasn't a lot of injuries, I think, preseason like we've had before. So it was kind of like it almost went off without a hitch. So I don't really know what to say in terms of a rant. I feel bad for someone like J.K. Dobbins who tried to hold out for a contract, didn't get a contract, and now he's torn his Achilles. That's probably okay. We're going to make the comparison with Cam Akers, but what Dobbins has barely had an NFL career. Let's face it, he's been in and out with injuries, and now what? He's going to get a contract? Probably not what he thought he was. It's bad because I think for a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years, and anyone that's been online has seen the filth of the RBs don't matter movement. They're out there, and he clearly matters as a human, and he's missed out twice now. He doesn't get to play, and now he's not getting his money. So that's a career killer. That. So I feel pretty bad for people like that. In terms of gameplay, I mean, what did you expect from Russell Wilson? Let's just hold the horses here. I called it through our show on my show on Wednesday. Russell Wilson's not going for 230 because who's he throwing it to? Adam Troutman. Stop it. I'm going to leave the Steelers for Gladys because I'm sure she has a lot to say about that. But, Chicago's still Chicago. The Giants are still the Giants. Washington suck just a little bit less than Arizona. I think the season's off to a flyer. And, at one point, the Rams were beating Seattle, right? That was really happening. Was I imagining that?
It did happen.
Cam Akers had what, 22 carries for what? How many yards?
29.
Yeah, and this is what we're persisting with at the moment. So it's a bit of silly season, and
Puka.
I don't think there's much more. Yeah, I mean, Puka Nacua, he was a favorite of mine. I think I grabbed him in a couple of drafts, and I'm happy with that. And I think the temperature of some of the rookies this year has been quite good. No one's gone kind of crazy on them outside of Bijan Robinson, and even he was playing second fiddle to a degree to someone like Tyler Algier. What the hell is that? So, the rookie quarterbacks looked a little sus. I mean, Richardson was okay in spurts, but he looked like we thought he would look, and the other two looked rough. Bryce Young had his moments, but he looked rough. CJ Stroud looked rough, but who are these guys throwing to? Hacks and washed up dudes. I could keep going if you want. It's been 3.5 minutes. Yeah. I mean, I'm absolutely terrified for tonight's game. I think this one's. I won't tip my hand yet, but before we get to the props, but I think the Bills are the team that we're going to see. I've got this weird feeling they're the team that is going to fall off the face of the earth this year. I don't know why. I've got a feeling that they're unfortunate enough for their division to have caught up to them. Because I think anyone that watched yesterday's game against Philly, who although started slow, the Patriots aren't going to be a pushover. We know what Miami can do, and we saw that last year before Tua got hurt. And we're going to see what the Jets can do this year. So this team that was running away with 14 wins in the season, I think that's dead and buried. I don't think they're that team anymore. So they're going to get pulled back into the muck and the mire. So, good to see Jordan Love do well. Good to see Derek Carr do well. Like Derek Carr, and then Jimmy Garoppolo, another quarterback else that did well. So, well enough.
Okay.
To get his team to a win against the Broncos, who are hot favorites. So yeah, a lot of things happened yesterday. That very interesting to see how it played out. I think that's obviously the thing everyone looks forward to in week 1, and we got week 2 to look forward to and respond with. It's interesting week ahead. I think. Not a rant.
It's not.
It's more very level-headed observation. So.
I got more coming. The Giants. I'm still so
disappointed.
You're not in mid-season form yet.
I'm still simmering.
Warming up. Warming up. It's okay.
I can't put the words together about
pace yourself.
How you gashed the Cowboys defense on the ground, and you did for a field goal to go the whole length of the field, to be blocked and go the whole length of the field, and then for Saquon, who's got some of the best hands as a running back, to fumble. For another one, 20 points conceded without an offensive play, really. But Daniel Jones is the bad player out of everything. I'm just absolutely cooked on it. Some really bad takes about Daniel Jones, though. I didn't think he was that bad considering. The Giants were absolutely abhorrent. Isaiah Hodgins catches one, goes for a run, drops it, but it was Daniel Jones' fault for some reason. I don't know. The offensive line was absolutely falling to pieces, but Jones was at fault. I don't know. The agenda. Brock Purdy had, 2 picks and a couple fumbles, but 30 points is the difference between a good quarterback and a bad one, I guess. So,
well,
here we are.
To speak of that...
It's not like McCaffrey ran for 150 yards or anything. And
I read a stat that 76% of Brock Purdy's yards are from yards after the catch. Like, if he didn't have Kettle, if he didn't have CMC, if he didn't have Ayuk, you can count 76% of his yards off.
To be fair, though, I mean, most quarterbacks are like that these days. Like,
not 76%.
You're right, not to that extreme, but I would like to see those numbers. Like, what is an average though? Like, if is 65% the NFL average, that doesn't make that look so bad. If 35% is the NFL average, then that looks worse. So, like, just some more context there.
We can play the what if game. I think we can say, what if he was playing for the Giants? Would he be as good? No. Circumstance and happenstance have happened to collide for him at the perfect opportunity. He's in a brilliant team with a wonderful offensive-minded coach that's going to put him in the best position to succeed. And I agree with Gladys. I think he gets a lot of help from a lot of very good players. But at some point, as a fantasy football or football community, you got to stop moving the goalposts on the kid. He's doing enough to get this team to where they need to be to succeed, and he's doing well. But again, had he played Dallas last night with the Giants team, not one of the best offensive lines in front of Daniel Jones. I don't know how Purdy would do. So, I think everyone needs to just calm down on their reactions to week 1 and how people play. But again, people were saying about Purdy he wouldn't get past TJ Watt. And, I mean, to be fair, Watt had him, but not for 30 points in a Steelers win. So
Watt had 3 sacks and 2 quarterback hits. He did his part.
Amazing.
He did his part.
Yeah. So, we can all say, Brock Purdy, he got hit by TJ Watt.
Yeah.
Also put up 30 points. So, how you want to look at everything from like every other game is another thing. It's just we gotta temper our expectations. Stop moving the goalposts and just let week 1 simmer a bit. That's where I'm at.
With Purdy, what if he was playing against the 49ers as opposed to with the 49ers? Like, how much worse would he?
It's the same. Right? You'd be looking at a guy that probably plays like Jimmy Garoppolo, and how would Garoppolo look with this Raiders team against San Fran? Probably not great, but a lot of people don't look great, and a lot of people do. Garoppolo went to what? He went to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship in 2 out of 3 years with the Niners. So it's not like you need to be like Joe Namath to do well with the Niners. You don't. You're going to be Jimmy Garoppolo and get far with them. And sometimes that's all it takes. Daniel Jones could take the 49ers to an NFC Championship the way that team's set up. Sam Darnold might this year. You never know. Sam Darnold could be that guy because, that's possible. That's where we're at. So,
that would just feed Shanahan's ego if he won a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold as the quarterback. That would just,
it would.
He'd be more insufferable than I would be. That'd be sure.
and yet Darnold would get hurt, and it would be Brandon Allen, and then he would win one game, and here we go again. It is another thing.
Yes. I'm sure that'll give us future ranting material. But Gladys, do you have any takeaways from week 1?
From what?
From week 1.
Yes, from week 1.
Well, or just yesterday. I mean, we could include the Thursday night game if you want.
Thursday.
I guess you did do a good job with that Saturday morning, you and Shannon on the particular order. So check that out, folks.
Thanks for that. I think that I thought that the rookie quarterbacks did as well as can be expected of rookie quarterbacks playing on a team that obviously isn't great because you get the first pick. Carolina has no one to throw it to. DJ Chark was out. Terrence Marshall, Adam Thielen was hurt. CJ Stroud didn't have an interception. That offense couldn't move. Their defense is still good, really good. Houston, the offense just needs to move. I mean, but we're talking, no disrespect, Nico Collins is his wide receiver 1. I don't know how much you can expect from a team that has. I thought Richardson of all 3 did the best, but that's because he is more athletic and he had the running capabilities that, as a fantasy player, you want, until he got hurt, until he had that really, really bad interception. But I thought he looked better than people expected Anthony Richardson to look, considering the amount of football that he's played. I thought his throws were, except for that interception, were good, and his running was good. I thought that Matt Canada probably should die a fiery death and then put anyone else in there to be offensive coordinator and we'll be okay. The Steelers looked bad. They looked bad. They looked bad from the start to the finish, and it was just a ridiculous game. It was, the defense did what they had to do, even with Cam Hayward out. The defense did what they had to do. You can only play defense on your field so long, and then they're just going to start giving up points because they're tired, because they're playing like 90% of the game, because your offense can't go more than 3 downs. Canada, you have to get – Tomlin has to get rid of Matt Canada. That's the bottom line. He has to get rid of Matt Canada. I thought that Cincinnati, Joe Burrow never starts strong. Like, I don't know why people are all up in arms. For the last 2 years, he never starts strong because he doesn't play in preseason. He doesn't get time with his guys. He never starts strong. And Myles Garrett has Joe Burrow's number. Like, he's 1-5 against Cleveland. I mean, I don't know why people expected Burrow to all of a sudden, because he got that contract, to be like, da-da-da. Cleveland is going to beat Cincinnati 2 out of 3 times. You can count on it. It's what's going to happen. It is what it is. And Lamar Jackson looked like crap. I'm sorry. He looked bad. He's going to throw for 6,000 yards? I don't think so.
They lost 2 tackles as well again.
It's of course. The Ravens season is in full swing.
I saw their injury list, like Marcus Peters, not Peters, it's someone else. Marcus Williams, he's already out.
Yeah.
Like Peck or something. 2 tackles already gone.
Is Ronnie Staley injured again? Because as great as he is, he's also always hurt.
And J.K. Dobbins, they had like 5 brutal injuries, like sunrise, sunset. The Ravens are screwed again. Like, it's happened.
Here's what I heard. I heard that a really good quarterback elevates his team, a.k.a. Matthew Stafford lost Cooper Kupp. Everyone thought they were going to go down the toilet, and he makes Puka and Tutu Atwell relevant in fantasy.
I guess he can relate to those young receivers after all. He certainly connected with them a lot yesterday.
Yeah. That's probably the greatest smokescreen that we've ever seen, right? I don't even know who they are.
I know. It didn't help.
Tutu was a second-round pick a couple years ago, but also that was one of those where kind of like Tony, when he was picked in the first round, everyone said that that shouldn't have happened, right? And same with Tutu. So.
Well, I mean, Seattle's defense was inept. Like, 2 quarterback hits. Are you kidding me? 0 sacks, no blitzes. They let Stafford do what he wanted to do.
Which was a really bad offensive line last year, to your point, Gladys. Like, the Rams' O-line was not good last year, so should have been one to exploit.
I don't know what Seattle's defense was doing. They get Bobby Wagner back, and Bobby Wagner played well. But it's like I thought the Rams' defensive line would be bad because all they have is Aaron Donald. Let's face it. That's all they had. And apparently that's all you need. All you need is Aaron Donald, and you're good. You're just...
It's like some teams get cute, right? Like, their first pick was a wide receiver. Their second pick was a running back. did they need either of them straight off the bat?
Yep.
They did take the corner. They had the Rams first round pick, and they took a corner, and they played him against the Rams, and they still lost to them. So
I'm talking Seattle though. Like,
no, I am Seattle. They have the Rams pick. They took Witherspoon.
Did they really need to take? Do they really need to take JSN?
Well, I argue, did you even really need Witherspoon? Should they not have addressed the pass rush? Like that would have been
like, and that's where we're at. Like
Jalen Carter, maybe. I don't know. Eagles.
Like, did you really need Charbonnet?
They had 12 yards
to run him
the
3
entire
times.
Second half. 12
to
yards.
Run him 3 times and not throw him the ball once. Like,
it's just
why'd you draft him?
Second round pick. Like, why? Like, we're at the point where like people are getting way too cute on like positional contracts, positional capital, all that sort of stuff. Like, I'm not an Eagles guy by any stretch, but do you know what they do year after year? They draft the best player every freaking time. It's maddening that they get to that point where the best player of the draft has fallen to us. So instead of taking like the need that we might have, I'm just going to take this guy who's going to play for us for the next 5-6 years and be amazing. Like, it's maddening how this happened.
It even happened with Justin Jefferson, but they just messed up and took Rieger instead. But yeah, they always followed him.
I understand that part, but like generally they haven't missed in a while, probably since then, right?
Yeah.
So you look at like that might have been a Rieger with Wentz as well, and JSA Wentz. Like,
a lot of people like Rieger, frankly, I mean, Jefferson was the 5th receiver taken, 4th receiver taken, so clearly a bunch of teams missed on him. Like, if we knew who he was, the Raiders would have just taken him in the first place.
Yeah, at this point, we're like, how do people just like overthink it? And we're at that point with some teams where you're completely overthinking this. You don't need Jackson Smith-Njigba right now because wide receivers are coming out and crushing it, like as a rookie, and you can go get a guy like, say, Jalen Reed out from Green Bay. Or a Jalen Hyatt who can go do better. Trey Palmer was a 5th-round guy, scores a touchdown. Didn't do a whole bunch, but he had other guys in front of him. That's a 5th-round pick who's going to do something similar. Like, why are we overthinking? Like, I need to go get this guy. But, our pass rush has been pretty shit for the last, I don't know, 5 months. When was the Legion of Boom?
Well, even the Legion of Boom, the pass rush wasn't what was key to that defense. Like, they were just really good at tackling. So, like, you look at the sack numbers.
They saw dudes that were there that could make it play.
Like they had Irving and Bennett, Michael Bennett.
Cam Chancellor, one of my favorite players of all time. That guy could just lay a hit on. Like, you watch dudes like that. Like, why didn't you had the opportunity, but you went and got a wide receiver who's going to be getting 3 to 4 targets a game behind Lockett and Metcalf? Like, you just paid up for that? Why? Like. Well, because we can have a wide receiver for 5 years and maybe 6 if we tag him. That's why. And they'll be 28 before we have to pay him. Who knows? I get it. But your team now sucks a little bit more because you didn't do the right thing. Like
a lot more. A lot more. Or you could look
at
it.
They've got Geno Smith to carry the team, right?
12 yards the entire second half. That's all they had. The offense. 12 yards.
I can't hate on him because he broke every record that Russell Wilson had a year ago. So there's something in there, but like, you can't go from what you were to this either. Like, that's too big of a step back. And like, especially when they set you up with another receiver and running back who you can throw to. Like, but it is so, like, you look at like teams getting cute. Like, I know they were getting hammered, but like, Najee Harris had like 5 carries and 2 targets. It's why? Like, it's maddening to think, we're going to get Jaylen Warren more involved. Like, why? Like,
he's just been so amazing. He's just undeniably talented where you have to put him on the field.
Najee Harris can receive the ball as good as any running back. He's pretty good at it. If you do it often enough, he's pretty decent.
Probably better than Jaylen Warren.
We're going to let Jaylen Warren do it instead because we're going to get him more involved than the guy that we drafted in the first round because, we got cute with that pick too, right?
That's where I thought you were going with that. Like, why did they even take that pick?
Had to erase the Le'Veon Bell.
They could have just got Deion Jackson as an undrafted free agent that year.
Do you know who got a target yesterday? It blew my mind for Pittsburgh. And, like, I was huge on this dude. Like, Anthony McFarland.
Miles Boykin?
Why? Why is Anthony McFarland getting targets, but, like, Najee Harris isn't? Like, how are you overthinking this? I get the Canada thing. I know I can see Gladys thinking already, but, like, how do you, like, get away from your talented players and do this shit? Like, it's just maddening. I
think it's called Matt Canada.
All right, look, you know what? We get to see what 2 teams
Maddening Canada.
Maddening Canada.
I can't wait to see what Buffalo do. As I said before, I feel like they're that team that's going to step back. But if you're going to take Dalton Kincaid in the first round, we got to see something today. Like, we have to see that now. Like, Laporta looked pretty good. Musgrave looked pretty good. This is the guy. Like Kincaid, Mayer. I don't remember how Mayer went yesterday.
0 catches, 0 targets.
Okay, but he was the other.
He was
guy
behind Austin Hooper, who only had 1 target. So clearly everything was going to Adams and Myers.
Yeah, that's the point of the
Myers.
game.
Yeah.
But, you're talking about Laporta and Musgrave. They look good. Kincaid's that guy, right? He's the big deal. So we got him instead of getting a wide receiver that we probably could have needed to help Stephon Diggs. Who knows? See how that goes, though. I'm interested to see what happens with this. Interesting. No running backs. They're using James Cook. This could go all over the place.
Yeah, Latavius Murray's there.
I did pick him up. He's there.
I have him in a couple of leagues too. He was free. You just grab him anywhere. My reaction, I think, is so I was someone who didn't believe in Jordan Love and was pretty pessimistic as a Packers fan. He proved some things yesterday that he hadn't shown yet. And I think it was mainly throwing downfield. I think he had like maybe 1 completion so far in his career downfield. And it was, remember that game, the season opener against the Saints, where they were blown out by like 35 points when they threw Love in, and the Saints were just total prevent defense, and like the soft coverages allowed him to do that. But I hadn't yet seen Jordan Love in the game he had previously started against the Chiefs or any times he had played actually complete balls downfield in against like competitive defenses, we'll say that would prevent those types of passes. And he did that yesterday. So that was a huge thing off the checklist for me.
Are you saying that a quarterback that hasn't played in like 3 years came out and showed you something you hadn't seen before because he hadn't played?
Well, I mean, it's not like he didn't play at all. He had played. I think he has 10 games played in his career, but in those sample sizes, he hadn't shown that specific thing yet.
So we're talking about 2 games, 3 games, maybe a year. So a quarterback that doesn't play for roughly 3 years can come out and show you something that you haven't seen before.
Well, I would expect so, because if he was showing it, he would be playing. But yes,
I'm absolutely not sub-referencing Trey Lance at all.
Okay, good. Yeah, we can stick to Jordan Love here.
Just making sure that a quarterback that doesn't play for 3 years can come out and show you that he can still play, even though he hasn't really for 3 years. Okay, we're going with that one.
In the defense of the 49ers, though, I think it is the opposite, because Jordan Love, when he had started, he showed he was capable of running the offense. Like this isn't going to be like he's not totally going to sink the team.
You were convinced? You were convinced he could run the offense?
He could run the offense with it's. To me, it was always the passing. Like that's my, and I still have questions about Jordan Love about his accuracy, because
I'm going to say Chicago helped him a little yesterday.
Well, yeah, I think that defense is pretty brutal.
Detroit might give him.
Well, I was going to say, he plays the Falcons next, so that'll probably be easy, too. And maybe the Saints week 3.
Dude, the Falcons secondary is
pretty good.
It's pretty
good.
True.
Yeah, that's
fair. They bulked up on that whole defensive line.
Right, I guess we'll find out next week then when he plays a real defense.
Is it in Atlanta or is it?
It's Atlanta. Yeah, it's in Atlanta, yeah. Because the home opener will be week 3.
Oh.
It's a dome game.
It's a dome game.
I do think I have more faith in him than I would if I was a Falcons fan having faith in Desmond Ridder. So that's at least a good sign, I think.
I love Desmond Ridder. I'm not going to lie. I love Desmond Ridder. I think he does exactly what they want him to do. No more, no less. And that's a great thing. What? If I could only get Kenny Pickett to do something, that would be great. But Desmond Ridder does exactly what Arthur Smith's offense wants him to do.
It's funny, Gladys, because Pickett had a better touchdown rate last year than Desmond Ridder did. Both were below 2%, so both were just absolutely awful. But at least Kenny Pickett was slightly better, so...
Yeah, but Desmond Ridder had Drake London. Kyle Pitts wasn't playing, and Tyler.
And for some reason, Desmond Ridder decided to just throw one pass to
That's exactly.
As a Packers fan, I was much more concerned facing Packers defense facing Justin Fields last week than I would be facing Desmond Ridder this upcoming week. Now I'm expecting the Packers to blow out the Falcons. Like this is
really.
There's no reason. Like the offensive line is better, but to me the quarterback is clearly maybe one of the worst in the NFL. So from that perspective, I expect if the Packers blew out the Bears by 18 points, 3 possessions, going against a worse quarterback, it should at least be a 3-score game. So I'm all in on the Packers, riding this train at least through Atlanta.
it's just like a bad team making bad decisions. Like the Falcons have like an identity crisis. Like
it's almost like they should have just drafted Justin Fields instead of Kyle Pitts in the first place. Like I said 5 years ago, whatever the hell that was.
I've seen enough from Fields to think that isn't the answer either. But are you telling me I'm not even a fan?
You know, it's a 1.5 spread on that game, right?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. And it was a 1 point spread. The Bears were favored by 1 against the Packers this week.
That was like the first game of the season. Like you can't even count spreads on the first game.
Does the second game give us much more though?
It should.
The Falcons beat a rookie quarterback making in his first NFL start. I mean, to be fair, Love will just be making his third NFL start, but he's also not a rookie.
I'm just saying. I think if you look at, I don't even think Fields is the right answer for Atlanta either. You look at what happened yesterday and how he played to be able to facilitate like Mac Jones with London and Pitts and being able to dump it off. That's the right answer for that franchise.
Brock Purdy on the Falcons would be great.
Well, maybe, sure, but I'm talking like we've seen enough from like Fields to know that his passing is not great. Like it's fine.
I will say the best throw in that game yesterday was not Jordan Love. It was Justin Fields.
It was to Darnell Mooney. I thought his throw to Mooney was fine, but like whether it's again Chicago overthinking it, not getting the right player for them, and not helping him with an offensive line, and he looked terrified again.
I will say the rookie they got, Darnell Wright, looked good. But he's a rookie, right? So how much can you glean? Because Braxton Jones looked great as a rookie last year, and then he looked awful yesterday. So.
I'm just saying, like, you're looking at, like, who could help what team and not overthinking it. Like, we didn't see anything from Tyler Algier last year to not see that he could do the same thing this year.
Wait, Tyler Algier?
Yeah,
he had like the most. He had the most rushing yards.
I think that's what Dan's saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like they've overthought it. They got cute with what they were doing instead of taking someone else at pick 5 or pick 2 or
8,
whatever. Gibbs was 8. I think
Gibbs was 12.
Okay, so pick 8. Fine. I'm looking at this going. You clearly have a guy that was doing the damn thing that you're asking the guy that you're already doing to like, and now your team looks worse because of it because the guy that
you didn't add Jalen Carter, for instance.
You have like Drake Leonard, who you dropped the first on, who you can't get the ball to, and Kyle Pitts, who you don't want to get to the ball to. Like, it's another team with an identity. We're just going to run it instead with the 5th round running back who looked as good, if not better, than the one we took with the 8th pick. Like I understand these hard-nosed coaches making decisions, but holy shit, how dumb are you? Like, this is where we're at. Like, what are you doing? Oh no, he's going to do it his way. We're going to ground and pound. Yeah, because your quarterback sucks. Like, that's it. Find someone else. Like, I'll tell you what, he's going to be, I'm pretty sure he's a free agent at the end of the year. Get me Kirk Cousins to the Falcons. Do it, please. Get me Kirk Cousins to the Falcons.
To be honest,
it's a dead division. It's a dead division. Cousins will run amok.
Yeah, Cousins is better than Carr, for sure.
Go do it, please. Please, go get Kirk Cousins with London and Pitts and dump off to Bijan. And just go. Run with that. With someone that can do it. Because Ritter ain't the answer. And you can't make a draft for your life. Like, enough.
They do have another quarterback on that roster. How many games before Heineke starts?
None. Forget Heineke. He's garbage too. You've seen enough from him. If you're going to get replaced by...
I think he's better than Ritter at this point.
If you're going to get replaced by Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett, that says enough. That guy's cooked as well. Just let him sit there on the bench.
I'm going to give credit to Sam Howell. He has looked good in his 2 starts he's made so far. 2 rushing touchdowns, so he's also good for fantasy.
Yeah, he's bordering on that Baker Mayfield. I can run and hype the team up garbage, but I'm still not a very good quarterback thing. It's just, I don't know, man. Heineke, I want him to sink into that Cooper Rush role where you only have to see him when, like, the quarterback throws his hand onto a helmet and goes, shit, I got to come out for a series. I don't ever want to see or hear Taylor Heineke's name again. Just enough.
I don't think he's Trace McSorley. Like, what's wrong with Heineke?
I have more faith in Trace McSorley becoming Taylor Heineke than Taylor Heineke being a quarterback of relevance again. That's where I'm at. Because Heineke...
I disagree. I think Trace McSorley is literally the worst quarterback in the NFL. He's just... I don't think he's on a team right now, so I guess technically he's not even in the NFL.
I don't know, man. There's some pretty bad quarterbacks going about.
Yeah, we shouldn't even be mentioning Trace McSorley's name. I'm sorry I brought that up.
Yeah. I don't know. Like,
we got much better quarterbacks to talk about tonight, to be honest.
Yeah. Let's get on to those guys. Who we got?
Well, before we do, I just want to shout out our sponsor, Underdog. We've got a fancy QR code on screen. Again, head over to the Going for Two Live YouTube page if you want to check it out. if you scan this QR code or use the promo code GF2 when making your initial deposit on Underdog. So for those who haven't yet signed up on Underdog, it's the best opportunity to do so. Sign up right now and use it to bet on the things we're about to talk about. You can always bet that I'm going to mess things up, right? But yes, Underdog, variety of great contests. I know I guess a lot of their best ball stuff has ended since the season has started, but you can still.
I think they have weekly best ball. They have a weekly best ball.
All right, so thanks, Gladys. You have weekly best ball, but also just single game contests, whether it's picking higher or lower on game totals or player stats. All that available, and you can do. I mean, there's other sports as well. We'll only focus on that, but any other sports you want, they're on there on the Underdog Fantasy application. You can scan the QR code or use the promo code GF2 when making that initial deposit. And again, what you get from that initial deposit, I guess I didn't mention that, the big payoff is a double deposit match up to $100. So whatever you put in on that initial deposit with the promo code, Underdog will double it. So if you max out and put in that $100 in that initial deposit, you will have $200 in your account to start making predictions and placing game contest entries and selecting things for potentially tonight's game, the Bills and the Jets. So if we get to some of these numbers that Underdog has placed for us, the Bills on the road are 2-point favorites, and the higher lower for combined points is currently at 45.5 points. So every year, each of us. Last year was 4 of us. All 3 of us will pick this against the spread. Which team are we picking based on who's favored, who's the underdog with the underdog numbers. Picking the higher, lower on the game, and then we'll go to an individual player number, higher, lower on that as well. So who'd like to begin? I'd like to make the first prediction of the season.
I'm giving Jets +2 and going lower. Last 2 games they played against each other, they didn't even reach 30 points combined. And yes, they have Aaron Rodgers now, but I'm not sure that he's good for 10 points added to that. So I'm and I think the Jets, their defense is better. I don't know how Josh Allen's coming out the first game. I'm going Jets +2, under 45.5.
Dan, I know you ended up with the same picks as Gladys, so do you want to add any reasoning to those?
I absolutely do. I think the team with the better run game or the better ground game in this weather, for those, I am out in New York and the weather is absolutely atrocious at the moment. It has been like this for a couple of days now. It's just heavy rain, heavy winds, lightning, all that sort of stuff. And obviously the Giants played on that track last night, so I'm going to go with a slow, sluggish game. I know Aaron Rodgers is going to want to come out and make a statement. And I know the Bills, again, I've mentioned it before, I just don't think they're the same team that's that far ahead of everyone in their division. I think they're going to get pulled back. A game like tonight with the Jets going 1-0 is a reason for that too. And I feel like they've had a disruptive offseason with everything that's happened with Stephon Diggs, which we don't know what's happened with Stephon Diggs. He's kind of just being cryptic as he has been, and Josh Allen's given us a sort of a face when it's happened. And Gabe Davis hasn't really been anything else. Kincaid, we don't know. They've got him at 2.5 for 25, so that's not really lighting the world on fire either. Their run game didn't really. You're hoping a lot from James Cook and Damian Harris, and I think Harris is an improvement on Singletary. I don't think that's a crazy statement, but we're looking at. I think so.
I'll push back on that. I think Damian Harris really hasn't shown much. He had that one good year with the Patriots, but I think Devin Singletary, I suppose the upside is higher with Harris as a runner, but Singletary is just more consistent. He can do everything. He can pass protect, he can catch, he can be Harris. He can run well, he can be your goal line back, but that's all he can do. Which maybe that's all the Bills want anyway, to be fair. Maybe that skill set is better, and that's what they're looking for. He's better at the thing they want, but I would say Singletary.
Who was the backup running back at Houston last year? I forget what his name was.
Dare Ogunbowale?
No.
Or is it Rex Burkhead?
Rex Burkhead. Like, literally, that's what Singletary is now for them. And that, to me, says a lot. Like, you're Rex Burkhead.
I think Singletary's a better rusher. I think there's a reason they got Singletary to replace Burkhead.
I'm being a little facetious, and I get that, but I think Harris has shown enough through that one season at the Patriots to know that he's probably better than Singletary, and Singletary's not going to outwork Alec Pierce, I don't think, over the course of the season either. But
no, I don't think so. I think Pierce is better than Singletary. That's for sure.
I like the idea of Dalvin Cook in these conditions. I like the idea of Aaron Rodgers in these. Not that I don't like Josh Allen, because obviously the conditions get pretty hairy up in Buffalo, but I think that's like something there with Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall, Aaron Rodgers just pounding it away. I've got a weird feeling that this is going to be played on the ground a little bit more than we hope. It won't be as flashy as last night. I can say that much.
Yeah, I mean, there were 40 points scored last night, which I guess would still hit this under. But funny enough, all three of us, we agree on that. We're all going lower. And maybe it's the conditions I'm concerned with. I also think both of these defenses are really good. And we have seen a lot of games hit the under this week. So it just seems like week one, the defenses were locked in. I think that momentum continues because both of these defensive units are very talented. I think especially for the Packers, the Packers. I'm going to do that all year. The Jets, the Aaron Rodgers team. This is strange to see him actually play a game tonight, not for the Packers. Seeing Jordan Love start for the Packers wasn't as weird as seeing Aaron Rodgers not on the Packers.
You should see him in this uniform. Does not look good.
I mean, the Packers uniform looks better than the Jets. I mean, that should be obvious.
There you go.
Frankly, the Jets probably have one of the worst uniforms in the league.
Really?
This one isn't really great. It doesn't look good on Aaron Rodgers.
It's kind of boring. There's green lines on white.
Yeah.
I did like the Jets color rush when they did that. That fluoro.
The black one?
The black one was sick, and I've seen them do a great.
Yeah, I like the black one.
Yeah, I agree. I concur.
I usually don't like color rush jerseys though, because I don't like the idea of one color head to toe. I like when the pants are different than the jersey. So I
thought. Do you know what was nice? The Cowboys uniform yesterday. The pants they went with like that teal blue. It was pretty cool.
As opposed to usually the pants are gray, right?
Yeah, no, it looked like it looked a lot nicer for some reason.
Rodgers looks like Gonzo or Gazoo from the Flintstones, the little green alien.
He does. He really does. I'm not gonna lie. Way to go, Jamie. Hey, Jamie.
And especially, he's in green, whether he's with the Packers or the Jets. And yeah, thank you, Jamie, for joining. And regardless of being late or not, super appreciative that you're here.
I have a question for you guys who bet. I had 2 bets on another betting site called BetMGM, and they were parlay bets, and they're not showing up. After the games, they just disappeared. It doesn't show on my completed bets. It doesn't show on my live bets. It doesn't show anywhere. Is that normal?
Did you win?
I don't know, because
she can't check.
I can't check because I can't find my bets.
You don't want to reach out to customer service there, Gladys?
I tried that. Have you ever tried customer service on BetMGM? There's no such thing.
I think every
BetMGM, you guys suck.
So I was going to say, this is a great time to, instead of going to BetMGM, go to Underdog Fantasy instead and use our promo code GF2.
That would be great, but I'm in Colorado, so I can only do pickups in Underdog.
That's what you really
that was directed at the crowd, not you. So sorry. My sympathies for your loss.
Thank you. I thought we were talking about me. My bad. I thought it was.
Well, I'm always trying to cater to the audience, I suppose.
Okay, whatever. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for that help there.
Oh, yeah, so all of us have the lower. I am going to actually pick the Bills, though. Maybe it's memories of, last year, Aaron Rodgers versus Josh Allen. Oh, man, it was a massacre. It wasn't even close. And I think the Jets team this year is better than the Packers, certainly Packers offense from last year. But I don't think it's enough to make up that difference. And the spread being small enough at 2 makes me want to go for the Bills. Because unlike Dan, I still think the Bills are going to be for real. I think they're going to win the AFC East. They'll probably lose in the divisional round again to either the Chiefs or the Bengals. That will probably still be true, but I think they're still one of the 2, 3, or maybe 4 best teams in the AFC. I don't think any of the other teams.
The best Bills team is an angry Bills team with a chip on their shoulder. I don't want to see them be the top. I want to see them on the road in the playoffs, because that crowd will follow them everywhere, and they will make it uncomfortable for anyone playing at home. So I kind of feel like they're at their best when their backs are against the wall instead of this heavy favorite business. So I don't mind if the Bills don't win their division. I think they'll make the playoffs, but I just don't see them getting away with it as easily as they did last time. This division is way too talented for them to be able to get away with that now. You play against, who's the quarterbacks for the Dolphins last year?
Mike White? Or no, that was Jets.
Yeah.
That was the Jets. It was your favorite, Luke Skywalker, Skylar Thompson.
Right, and no, you're right. Mike White was playing last year at some point for the Jets.
Yeah, he was
For
at
the Jets. For the
Like,
Jets.
that's you gotta.
Mike White might play this year for the Dolphins too. Against
Bailey Zappi was playing for the Patriots. Like
Yeah.
at some point, you're like,
Bailey Zappi almost beat the Packers last year.
I'm just saying that at this point, you're looking at what they have. It's a harder division. They're not going to be able to get away with it anymore. So, either way.
No, Jamie, the Browns always beat Burrow. Myles Garrett has Burrow like running scared. You know that. Don't even
Bizarro
try.
world. Yeah, the bizarro world with the Browns.
Don't even try it. Browns.
That might be
always
sarcastic
beat
because he's a Browns fan, right? So
He is a Browns fan.
He's maybe playing into that narrative that it's
We have a
Browns
bet.
aren't that good. But
Browns have a better record than the Steelers, which isn't looking too good for me right now. Matt, Canada. If I had money, I would pay someone. I don't have any money.
I guess to the last point of why I'm picking the Bills, I do think this Jets team is for real. I think they'll make the playoffs, but I also think you're having the quarterback having to adjust to all these weapons. Whereas with the Bills, it's the only thing they haven't had is Dalton Kincaid. And that's really the one thing they have to adjust to. But
So we're saying the Bills. You're saying the Bills and the Jets get to the playoffs.
yes,
So what you saw from yesterday, you're saying Miami won't.
well, they could send 3 teams.
Okay, so then we're saying that the Chargers won't. Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
I think the coach will ruin it for them this year, and this is what gets Staley fired.
Again, now we're saying that someone out of Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cincinnati won't. Like that's a tough.
Well, we were just talking about how the Ravens didn't look great. I mean, maybe it's them.
Steelers didn't look great.
No, I don't think the Steelers are going to make the
I don't know.
playoffs. That's just my lack of faith in Kenny Pickett. As much as I love Mike Tomlin,
So now
don't think he's
you're
going to.
circling that down to like we're talking about the Steelers didn't look great, Baltimore didn't look great. Cincinnati had 3 points and 85 passing yards.
So
Cincinnati
the Browns
never
maybe will
looks
win this
great.
division. Maybe
Cincinnati
the Browns
never-
will be the only team.
Cincinnati's gone 0-2 in the last 2 years and still made the playoffs.
I don't know if I can get behind the idea that like I don't know. There's something about this division that's going to. There's something about the AFC East this year that's going to give to the whole NFL. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's going through them somehow. Miami, what they did yesterday on the road, week 1. If they stay healthy,
But Tua has to stay healthy.
Tua has
That's
to
the
stay
only
healthy.
way they're going to make it.
I think you'd say the same thing for every other quarterback, right?
No, not
If
really.
Burrow gets hurt and Jake Browning's playing for the Bengals, they're not making the playoffs.
Week 2 last year.
I think if Lamar gets hurt, I think Tyler Huntley can. Tyler
Huntley didn't even play yesterday, so I think he's hurt too.
He has that hamstring thing going on.
I don't know. There's a lot in this division that I don't know. There's a lot to say here, and I feel like the Bills can make a mistake tonight.
I think Kenny Pickett get hurt, and Trubisky could take us to the playoffs. So if we didn't have
I was gonna say that might not make that much of a difference as other teams. Like the drop off, probably the Steelers do probably have one of the better backup quarterbacks.
Don't tell Deontay Johnson that.
Maybe the Bengals, Steelers, and Ravens don't make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I think everything is.
Who doesn't leave in that division? Oh my God, Jamie, you're ridiculous. Ridiculous, young man.
Hey, maybe the Browns win the division, right? Like that could happen. I don't think.
Why not? Why not?
They're the only team in the division with a win so far. It's 1 week, so let's not overreact fully. But what we will talk about is our player stat contests, courtesy of Underdog. So
I think you should go first, Kyle.
Okay, well, I was gonna, in case Gladys picked this, I was gonna pick something else just for diversity, because I know Gladys is a big IDP player. I know she loves IDP and defensive players. So when I noticed that Underdog was giving IDP player statistics this year, I was intrigued, and I went and looked, and the one number that really stood out to me was safety Jordan Poyer, 4 tackles. And I've gone and looked, and so he's played most of his career with the Bills, but he specifically has shifted from free safety to strong safety since 2019. And I went and looked at since 2019, he is an overwhelming number of games higher than 4 tackles, and usually like half that, like combined for like under or equal to 4 tackles. So most games he plays, he will get more than 4 tackles. This might be the exception, but to Dan's point earlier, this might be a game so much on the ground game for the Jets that it'll allow him to rack up a lot of tackles. So I'm going Jordan Poyer higher than 4 tackles. Gladys, was that going to be your pick too?
Nope. Not even
close. There you go. Everything works out.
Everything is perfect. Dan?
Yeah, I went with how much unknown there is to the Bills' rush attack, and as much as things change, the more they stay the same. I'm going with Josh Allen rushing yards. At the time went to 36.5, going higher on that one. Look, we can talk about what could have been if Singletary got more of a workload, and maybe he might have been more than what we thought. James Cook was in and out of the team last year, but not really with what he could do. But the number one constant was always Josh Allen getting you those 25 to 40 yards on the ground, with those conditions being a bit sluggish and wet. Maybe ball security is a problem with some of them. I think he might just tuck it and run. So I've got the idea that might be the thing. I thought the rush attempts at the time, I think I saw was at 10.5. I thought that might have been a little high. Maybe around that 6, 7, 8 mark, I think would be about right. But if he can get that many, you already know that if he gets to that 10-yard line, he's going to run that himself, and he's good for 10 yards. Do that a couple of times, and we're off to the races, I think.
Wait, what did you have?
I had Josh Allen
rushing yards.
I don't.
36.5 rushing yards.
I don't have that on my underdog picks. Why? Weird.
I wonder, because of the storms, have they removed a lot of their lines recently?
Was there?
Well, I don't know, because all I have is fantasy points. I wonder if that is a thing now.
It's funny. Yeah, I noticed that a lot last year. How often did we take?
It's the second option there. Josh Allen rushing yards is now 37.5. So it's gone up beyond.
No, I mean, all it's available, like on another site, all Colorado can do is fantasy points. I can't do higher and lower rushing yards. I can't do higher and lower passing yards.
Oh, okay, that might just be because of your availability.
Yeah, where I am, which sucks, because I'm going the easiest one of all, Gabe Davis, lower than 46.5 receiving yards.
Yeah. I was tempted by that one too. Yeah.
That's a gimme, because 33, 31, 39 his last 3 games against the Jets. He will be playing on, I believe, the left side. I do believe that will be Sauce's side. Sauce doesn't switch sides, and DJ's on the other side. So Davis lower than 46.5 receiving yards. And let me find.
Just to add to that, Gladys, I was looking up that one as well and noticed that I think Gabe Davis has 1 game in his career of higher than that against the Jets. Now, I think it was like a 100-yard game, so he smashed past it. But
it was 105 receiving yards in 2021, 2 years ago.
I think every other game, like none of them, he even surpassed 30 yards.
No. So
gimme. Yeah, for sure. Gimme. That seemed like a strong lower. I usually don't like the lowers. I wasn't the best at this section of the betting last year, so the contest. So maybe that speaks to it. But yeah.
Are you doing a spreadsheet again?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll keep track. Yeah, for sure.
I do believe you will.
I like numbers. Were there any? Because I talked about it. I had, again, if Gladys went with Poirier, I might have gone with a different direction just to diversify.
All right, I need fantasy picks then.
Okay.
Josh Allen. So we'll go with the people that you guys picked. Josh Allen, 21.35 fantasy points, higher or lower?
Because of the conditions, I'm tempted to say lower, but that does seem like right around. If he can get the rushing touchdown, he'll beat it. Right? That's one of those things.
Going lower.
Lower?
I don't think you'll have a touchdown.
Gabe Davis, 8.85 fantasy points.
Lower.
8.85, which means he clearly only needs a touchdown.
I don't think he's getting it, so.
He needs to catch the ball for that to happen.
He's got what?
He needs to catch the ball for that to happen. I'd like to know what Kincaid I was interested in at 25.5 receiving yards. Dawson, you guys know how I feel about the lowest hanging fruit. Dawson Knox at 18.5 receiving yards as well.
I don't even have Kincaid on my thing.
Yeah, they were the two that I looked at and went, Dawson Knox at 18.5 receiving yards and went, ooh, that's...
How many? 8.5?
18.5.
Oh, 18? I would go low. For Dawson
Especially
Knox?
week 1, he might still be the starting tight end for the Bills, right? If they're bringing on Kincaid a little slower.
I bet it's Kincaid.
That's where I was at with that. I thought Dalvin Cook over 11.5 rush attempts was interesting too. I thought that might have been.
Oh, Jamie, does Jamie bet a lot? Is Jamie our resident?
Well, he does a lot of best ball stuff, so I probably does enough on Underdog as well.
All right. Garrett
he's
Wilson.
talking about complaining about a missed $10 parlay. And I remember last week in some of the live shows, he was talking about how he took a few bets on Kelsey, like anytime touchdowns in the Lions game before it was announced he was out. So, he had like a parlay.
Jamie, do you bet? What do you bet your parlay on? What side are you betting that on? I need to know.
Is it like Underdog Fantasy?
You are so weird.
That is true. I am.
You're so lovely weird. I love it.
Thank you. So, Julia does have a question here. Asking me if Quay Walker's pick six was my favorite play of yesterday. No, it was Aaron Jones' second touchdown reception, and then it was immediately. Oh no, he hurt his hamstring. So actually, Gladys is in this league. I'm in the fantasy coaches one play.
Who did you play?
I played Aaron Jones.
Oh.
So that's why him getting the second touchdown was
exactly.
All right. Those points. So what we do is we can only play one player per week on our roster, and lineups or rosters are locked. We literally, it's almost like best ball in that sense, where it's whoever you draft is your team all year. No additions, but when you start a player, they are dropped from your team. So I played Aaron Jones week 1. He's going to be off my team probably today or tomorrow. And then, every week you have what you drafted. And I mean, there was more than 17 players drafted. I think we drafted like 22, 23. So you'll have like a bit of a buffer, but essentially you're just picking it's funny because it's almost the worst parts of best ball. It's the roster is locked. You can't make any roster moves, but you don't get the advantage of best ball of getting the best player picked. You have to make that decision. So it's pretty tricky. I know someone got screwed on the Jerick McKinnon. And basically how this league's going to work is it's just going to be total points. Whatever player you put in your lineup, that they bank those points. Whoever has the most points at the end of the year wins the league. So that person who has Jerick McKinnon is far behind, unfortunately for us, Glad, is the person who played Tyreek Hill and ended up with 40 points. That person's in first right now because they.
Do you think they played Tyreek Hill yesterday?
Oh, they did. I checked. Yeah.
Oh, they did?
Because I wanted to know. Was Aaron Jones the highest scoring player of the players selected? I'm looking through. It's like, oh yeah, 27 points, great. And I see 44 points next to Hill. So, okay, nope.
I'm not different strategy. I went with play my weak guys early and play my strong guys late.
Well, I thought for running backs, and you know what? It came to fruition with Jones. They're more likely to get hurt. So the running backs I do have, I'm probably going to play early, and then I'll play my quarterbacks later in the season. Okay. Thinking I'll have more information to pick the matchups better. But early season, I'll just go with the running backs for the volume. Thinking Aaron Jones might get hurt at some point. I wasn't expecting to be week 1, but yeah. I've got Alexander Madison, and he's probably going to be in my lineup pretty early. I don't think I'm going to play him against the Eagles this week, but week 3, week 4, I think. That's kind of how I'm going about it. Dan hates this whole thing, so we don't have to talk about that.
Why?
Oh, well, I mean, because we can do whatever we want. I mean, you can't.
Well, I mean, why does Dan hate it? Why does Dan hate it?
Every year, I'm just astounded. It'll be like week 1, and Kyle will tell us he's in the weirdest format of football. I think it's like 3 years straight, and it's just different every time. I'm just, man, I can't.
Are you in the Baby Bowl?
The Baby Bowl?
Yeah. The Baby Bowl's like you pick a lineup, and once you play those players, you can't play them again. But it's like best ball, but you're picking a lineup. And
there's such thing. I just I keep my head down and out of trouble. Sorts of things where there's rules. I know I would quit within about a week and be like, no, I'm done.
Well, I did forget, but he texted me, so I just picked players from tonight's game.
I'm trying so hard to get out of a league with median scoring.
Why?
That doesn't seem that strange, though. It doesn't make you do anything differently.
I hate it. Okay. And I'm not telling you that this is a league that Jeff commissions, but I'm out at the end of the year already, no matter what.
Which league is this?
That doesn't matter.
The zombie? You're not in the zombie league, are you?
No, I couldn't do something. I couldn't do it. That's as weird as it gets for me is median scoring, and I'm against it.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, you lost and you got absolutely smoked, except you were about 3 points better than the other schmucks in your league. You get a point. Like, no.
Oh, come on. You got to expand your horizons, sir.
No, I'm good. I got put out the door. I'm like, I don't want to do this.
I tried to join every kind of league that I've never, ever played in before this year.
I was going to quit this year, but I had the 101, and that was it for me. I was like, the 101 or 102 or something like that. I was like, I'm not leaving now. I'm going to get beat.
And then I'll quit afterwards, yeah.
This is the year to quit. I think I put up a league high. I've got 2 players tonight. It's RDP start 20 total, and I'm like 370 points with 2 to go. I'm like, I'm doing all right this week. If we can carry on, I'm going to cash out and bounce. I'm done. Either way, I'm gone. So.
That's the way to do it. Apparently, Jamie uses DraftKings.
I have to ask Jamie a question. Jamie, I'm on another site, not DraftKings, not whatever the other one you said. And I had 2 parlay bets. And then at the end of the games, I went to look, and both parlay bets are gone. They're not in my bets. They're not in my completed. They're not in the open. They're not in the settled. Is that normal? Is that a normal thing for, like, if you don't hit the parlay, is that a normal thing for them to do? Or if you hit the parlay, like one was a astoundingly good parlay.
And to specify, that was on BetMGM, right?
Yeah, it was.
Just so, I don't know if Jamie's had experience with that site at all.
Oh yeah, it was on BetMGM.
While we're waiting, Jamie will, of course, the obligatory Roshan Johnson comment. And yeah.
I have him.
Sorry, yeah. Oh, yeah, and I think, he's towards the end of the game, too. Maybe that was the garbage time, but yeah.
I think we're almost done, yeah?
Oh, yeah, the only thing I wanted to talk through was I was surprised how low the lines were for a couple of Rogers receivers. Specifically, Garrett Wilson at only 5.5 receptions. That seemed intriguing to me. And then Lazard at 36.5 receiving yards. I almost went with the higher on that. That seemed pretty low. The one I was looking forward to was CJ Uzomah, because I'm not entirely convinced that Ty Conklin is the clear lead tight end ahead of him. And if they came out with like a 9.5 receiving yard line on CJ Uzomah, I would have jumped on it just to talk about it, but didn't end up making one. Maybe smartly so, because they know. No, I don't know.
That's not a bad shout. I'm telling you that those numbers, they're dropping because of that weather. It's just,
yeah.
It was bad last night too. Like, it was. That's not to say that like the weather was bad for the Giants and not for Dallas, because they handled it a lot better. But no, the
Dallas offense didn't do that great, to be honest.
They didn't do much. They didn't have to.
No,
but that's not the point either way. The conditions prior to the game, all through the day, even at night, overnight, it was hammering down overnight as well. Like, and granted, I'm in Queens. I'm not in Jersey. We're not too far away though, so it's like I was in the city today, and it was just pretty brutal today, to be honest with you. It wasn't great, so not good.
So I kind of like that Jordan Poyer tackles line. Let's go with that.
He's going to get a lot of work.
All pro safety, baby.
So, recap. Kyle, please, on the bets.
Oh, sure. Yes. So all of us took the lower. So all of us took the lower on the 45.5. And maybe that's all influenced by weather, but I think it's a combination of weather and just 2 good defenses. And also seeing how many lowers hit this weekend. And then Gladys and Dan both took the Jets as 2-point underdogs, while I took the Bills as 2-point favorites. And then for our player lines, Dan went Josh Allen higher than 36.5 rushing yards. Gladys went lower for Gabe Davis, lower on 46.5 receiving yards. And then I took Jordan Poyer higher than 4 tackles.
What? And unfortunately, Doc is not with us to claim his prize for the battle, but still has a book. Still has a book, people. Still has a book. He's on Discord. Go see him. We're going to bounce, I believe, because there are some of us who have like a family, whatever, a family and a life.
Yeah, we've done the sections. I was just going to talk quickly about a couple of players to look for on the waiver wires, and Julia bringing up Tyler Higbee kind of transitions to that. So, Dan, if there's anything you want to say before that.
Don't go stupid on your fab this week. Just don't.
Yeah,
like,
it's week 1.
It's not. I understand Kyron Williams, Justice Hill. These.
Do you really want to play Kyron Williams against the 49ers next week?
Yeah. No, you don't want to play anyone against the 49ers.
It's going to be.
Wait, I have the 49ers in fantasy. Yes, you do.
Yeah, just pace yourself week 1. Put in a bid for whatever you feel is necessary, but like, don't go stupid.
Who is NBA rigged? Who is this? Do we know?
Her name is Julia. I know she's been she's on our Discord, so I know. I think
Dude,
that's
know I'm not in Discord as much as I should be.
Well, I don't either, and I've known it because she's often commenting on the fantasy cheat sheet, and it seems like Jamie. I don't know.
He thinks Gabe Davis is going to ball out tonight.
Well, I think Jamie talks with her a lot on Discord, and that's what initially influenced her to come to the like the cheat sheet and stuff like that. And I'm glad Julia's sticking around for other shows like this. And yeah, she believes, he's the best receiver for Buffalo. And it's funny because at first I was thinking, is Diggs going to have a bad game because he's covered by Sauce Gardner, and that leaves the better matchup for Davis? But then, to Gladys's point, looking at Davis's history, he hasn't done well against the Jets. So
yeah.
Oh, she is in the zombie league with us. Oh, well, there you go.
All right, I'm gonna go eat vegan carrot cake that I forgot to take out of the fridge.
Yeah, I guess check out. Well, both my co-hosts actually both have shows on the Going for Two Live Network that they do aside from this. So on Wednesdays, you can check out the B League Pick'ems show, which
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, no, I did.
When I wrote it down, I was like, Carl's going to get a kick out. He's going to get a kick out of this. I knew he'd get a little kick out. I was like, I put it in. I'm like, I wrote it out. I was like, show.
This is stupid. This doesn't make sense. Kyle will love it. I do love it. I also loved watching the show, so it's good.
I know it is really good.
Yeah, good pick'em advice for like the full slate of contests, not just the Monday night.
Just gotta get on your picks early in the week.
Carrot cake vegan.
No. I mean, depends what they make it with. If they make it with non-vegan ingredients, it's not like there's just carrot in a cake, Jane. there's the cake.
The cream, the frosting.
I mean, you might as well just eat a carrot,
cream
right?
Cheese. Yeah. Oh my god.
True, right? Yeah. There's the vegan.
Jamie.
All right. I'm out. Hey, Doc. Good to see you.
Yeah. Just in time to see us exit out on the show on time too. We're actually going to hit it before the.
And NBA rig Julia. Do we know who the zombie is this week?
Well, the zombie doesn't change. It's always going to be Josh.
Oh.
If Josh Walker beats somebody, then that team will also become a zombie. Then there'll be two zombies. And if
I thought if he beats someone, then that person becomes a zombie, and he doesn't become a zombie anymore.
No, you gotta lose to the zombie. That's how. If you beat the zombie, it's like you're killing the zombie, right? Or like losing to the zombie is akin to being bitten by the zombie. So as long as no one loses to a zombie, there's no infestation. But
all right,
in the zombie league I was in last year, it happened week 1. I'm pretty sure Jeff beat Jamie week 1, and Jeff was the zombie. So it just took off to the point where I was the only non-zombie at the end of the year.
Look at you.
So this year we've already done better because we got through week 1 without a zombie winning. So it'll at least slow that process down, because that got like pretty ridiculous. Like everyone else is a zombie by like week 8.
See, this is what you're missing, Dan. You could be like a zombie.
Because what happens when the zombie wins, that team that becomes a zombie has to drop their entire starting lineup except one player.
One player? Yeah.
Technically 2, because the zombie that beats them can steal a player out of the starting lineup. But then they have to keep one and then drop the rest of their starting lineup. And the only way they get to keep one is if they switch it for a bench player. So you still would have to drop that bench player. But anyway, all to say, if a zombie wins, that next week, there's some great players available on the waiver wire. It's kind of like a guillotine league in like that, but you're not guaranteed to have it happen every week. And there might be weeks if there's multiple zombies where 2 teams drop the starter. So that's the chaos of the waivers can get really
oh my God.
interesting.
I think Dan's head exploded.
We can stop here, Dan. Oh, he froze. He's broken. And he's gone. That's fine. I think we're about done here. I was going to say my one guy to pick up on the waiver wires this week is Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst?
I think he might end up being the Panthers' leading target player for the whole season.
You don't think Chark's coming back?
Sorry?
You don't think Chark's coming back?
Well, I think Chark's coming back, and even Thielen will probably be better. But at this point, Hurst, I think, has that opportunity to potentially be that guy. Like, you look at some of the other tight ends that'll be on the waiver wire, like a Logan Thomas or a Zach Ertz. Although Zach Ertz did lead everyone in targets this week, but he also put up 21 yards on 10 targets. So not efficient. But I just think as Bryce Young grows, maybe Hayden Hurst grows with me. He already had a good week. So
Ferguson had 11 targets, right?
I thought it was 7.
I thought he had 11.
No, I thought Ertz led all tight ends.
I thought he had the most targets for.
Yeah, I thought it was Ertz with 10, and then Ferguson was up there. I think Ferguson would be a good pickup as well. I'd probably put him second behind Hurst, honestly, for those tight end pickups, because I know Julia mentioned Higbee, and that Nakua and Atwell overshadowed him. So yeah, but anyway, like those tight ends getting targets would be the guys I prioritize. But like Dan said, I wouldn't overspend on Fab. Like if I miss out on Hurst, I'm not too upset because I could go grab a Jake Ferguson. So I think prioritize them, but don't put all your fab on them, because if you miss out on Hurst, or you miss out on Ferguson, you miss out on whoever your favorite tight end is, there'll still be other tight ends that you can pick up for much cheaper. So I wouldn't go crazy with the fab this week either.
This is
with the Ravens, J.K. Dobbins injury. Is it Justice Hill? Is it Gus Edwards? Is it Melvin Gordon? So that's also one where we don't know. So don't overspend on any of them. And yeah, I don't really want Kyren Williams because he's playing the 49ers next week. So
Jackie. Okay.
And Jackie wanted to get on the show, so
he did. Like he never comes up here.
Well, Jamie's gonna go eat a vegan apple. And we're gonna get out of here.
Jamie's ridiculous. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button too if you're still on. Punch it.
If you're and comment underneath if you're watching this after the fact. Dan's at the B League says Gladys is at Gladys L. Tyler. I'm at Cinema says, yeah, check out everything on the Going for Two Life Network. Tons of great shows. Gladys, Saturday morning in no particular order.
9 a.m. Join Shannon and I just talking.
Yeah, great conversations that we had
trending
last
topics.
weekend. So it was
We'll
awesome.
probably talk about trending topics, or maybe I'll let Jackie talk for me, and I'll go to the farmer's market. Bye, guys.
I don't think it'd be a better show because I like hearing you talk. But yes, thank you, Julia. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Doc, who showed up at the end as well. Thank you, everyone, for watching, listening. This was the 2 Point Conversion.